why they have not been able to publish that is another question. Is this because they're trying to protect the healthcare companies? They really don't want you to know that.
Oh my God, that is completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
Specifically, he states how we are the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world. That makes me think that that manifesto is correct, right? Because the manifesto now matches the quotes that they're excerpting from the manifesto. The manifesto has been released. Ken Klippenstein got his hands on it. He says it's a real one, not the fake one that's been circulating online. And there was a fake one that looked like it was fake and I believe was posted recently on a Substack that was supposedly an old Substack, but was a new Substack. But this seems like it is more real. Ken Klippenstein does good reporting. He's an independent journalist and he got his hands on it. Now, the media has not wanted to release this manifesto. He says, I've obtained a copy of the suspected killer Luigi Mangione's manifesto. The real one, all right? Not a forgery that's circulating online. Major media outlets, by the way, are also in possession of the document and they've refused to publish it. And they have not even articulated a reason why they're not publishing it. Now, my queries to the New York Times, CNN, and ABC to explain their rationale for withholding the manifesto while gladly quoting from it selectively, right? We've seen a lot of their quotes. Why do they quote it? Have not been answered. This agitates me so much. I mean, one of our values here is transparency. We'd have a lot less to be upset about if they were just transparent about their investigations and were just honest with us about what's happening and when. I'll have more to say on this later, says Ken, on how unhealthy the media's drift away from public disclosure is. But for now, here's the manifesto. Thank you, Ken. And cheers to you, my friend, for posting this, having the courage to do it. So this is the manifesto, allegedly from Luigi Mangione. He says, quote, to the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the US has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. United is the indecipherable largest company in the US by market cap, only behind Apple, Google, Walmart. It has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy? No. The reality is these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed, with a W, them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, for example, e.g. Rosenthal and Moore, decades ago, and the problem simply remains. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. All right, so that's allegedly the manifesto from Luigi Mangione. To keep this short, I'll save you the lengthy investigation. So CAD, computer-aided dispatch, basic CAD, computer-aided diagrams. This is how he printed the gun. Now, there were other things in here. He says specifically, this is not about awareness. This is not an issue of awareness at this point, which many people might think that's what this was all about. He wants to shoot a healthcare CEO to draw attention to healthcare CEOs and United and others denying people coverage, or for health consequences to be getting worse for Americans. Because he raised a lot of awareness on this, but he says it's not about awareness. So it's clearly power games. So he just wanted to take out a top player. Is that it? So evidently I'm the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Now, this point is exactly right, by the way. And this is a criticism that we've had about the US healthcare system for a long time. We spend more money than anybody on health and our people look terrible relative to the rest of the world. And they are actually terrible, right? Our health consequences are bad. This is why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has gotten so much attention because he wants to make America healthy again, because this number is insane. And that might be part of the reason Trump won the election. Okay, so this is not an unpopular opinion. People know it. You go outside, you can see a lot of people don't look healthy. A lot of people don't feel healthy. And I know we all got that little cold crud going on right now, but it's beyond that, right? It's a much bigger systemic problem. Now, I do apologize. The reality is we've got simply too powerful, and obviously the problem is more complex. Many have illuminated public corruption, but I'm the first to actually shoot somebody in the back. And so that is allegedly the manifesto from the shooter. Now, why they have not not been able to publish that is another question. Is this because they're trying to protect the healthcare companies? Are they interested in making sure that they're able to propagandize this report? Like, they don't want people to be focusing on this number. They really don't want you to know that. They'd rather be able to advertise to you on your pharmaceutical companies, get you hooked on more drugs so that maybe that will help or not. We know the news media companies are bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical companies. Is this why they don't want to release this? Because people will find some truth in it? And by the way, this entire statement could be 100% true. Still doesn't justify anybody shooting somebody in the back on the street. It's a cowardly thing to do. Should never happen. Now, did this guy do that? We'll see. But we were speculating this morning on our members only stream, contemplating the idea what happened with this guy. Is this guy a patsy who was set up? He was high on psychedelics, and during a period of heightened intoxication, somebody did something else and then planted the evidence on him. It's a theory. The other theory is maybe the drugs fried his brain and he is lost now. And so this is what has resulted. But why the media won't publish this stuff and why the police won't give us any transparency when we're asking questions about the investigation is why people don't trust the media anymore, why nobody's watching them to boot. So that's the manifesto that has come out. He also lashed out at reporters, or maybe it was the police, as he was being arrested and transported. Here's what that sounded like.
Luigi Mangione has been completely out of touch and is an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
He said something to the effect of, it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people. So completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people is part of what he said as he was getting transported into the various facilities. Now we have more info on the arrest warrant. There is the other photo of the suspect, Luigi Mangione. And now the Wall Street Journal has some info on what has come out. The Manhattan DA's office released an arrest warrant for the tech worker detailing how investigators connected the dots. I wish they would just publish it, for crying out loud. James, Alyssa, and Corrine. What's wrong with you people? Publish it. Luigi, 26-year-old Ivy League student, was caught, we know. He checked into a hostel the days leading up to the fatal shooting, the warrant said. He also provided the hostel with a fraudulent New Jersey driver's license with the name Mark Rosario, the warrant said. The license was the same one he presented to local police at McDonald's in Altoona, where he was arrested after the national manhunt. Now, Mangione had been detained on a firearm charge in Pennsylvania, now expected to appear in court in Tuesday today to face 5 criminal counts, including second-degree murder and criminal possession of the weapon. The timing of the transfer depends on how the hearing in Pennsylvania goes, said Jessica Tisch. She said, "We say this all the time. If you see something, say something." And in this case, that McDonald's employee did just that. We're grateful as a city. Mangione is unlikely to appear in New York State court immediately. The length of the process depends in part on how he and his lawyers handle the questions. If he waives extradition, he could be transported to New York, where he would be arraigned there, and then ideally we're getting the search warrants and the criminal complaint. But I don't know if the search warrant was from Pennsylvania or from New York. If he chooses to challenge his extradition, that would kick off a process that would require a warrant issued by the governor's office, saying the criminal complaint in New York isn't public yet. They typically remain sealed until he's arraigned, which is going to be today or tonight or tomorrow. Mangione was arrested on firearms charges in Pennsylvania. So that arrest, like, he's already been arrested there. We should have some Pennsylvania documents. I wanted those. And later charged with murder. He's suspected of fatally shooting Thompson. The killing captivated the public. Some people on the left calling him a quasi-folk hero. And we listened to the clip of Taylor Lorenz calling this a joyous occasion. And then we also heard from Jon Stewart and his show, and they booed when he got arrested because apparently they want more vigilantes to shoot people in the back like cowards. Specifically, he states how we are the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world. That makes me think that that manifesto is correct, right? Because the manifesto now matches the quotes that they're excerpting from the manifesto. Specifically, he states how we're the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, but we have a 42nd life expectancy in the world. The police said the key to the case was releasing a photograph. They're like, we're so heroic, cops, because we put a picture on the internet. So we're like amazing, incredible police work. We posted a photo on our X account. Somebody else found him. So we need $1 billion. A McDonald's employee in central Pennsylvania recognized Mangione, called the police. During a search of the backpack, they found a pistol silencer, both produced by 3D printing. The pistol had a magazine with 6 9mm rounds inside. There he is, eating his hash brown. Can't even enjoy a hash brown at McDonald's, right? Without everybody thinking you're an assassin. A judge denied Mangione bail. Prosecutors said he was carrying $8,000 in cash, and he had bags for his electronic devices that block electromagnetic signals, a Faraday bag, which they said showed the level of criminal sophistication. Now, he denied carrying that much cash during his appearance and said he used the bags because they were waterproof. I'm not trying to hide anything. All right, so he's at McDonald's. United Healthcare released some statements. Luigi and his writings now show a little bit more about him. Here's a close-up photo of when he's screaming at the press. The man accused of gunning down the CEO shouted, quote, "It's an insult to to the intelligence of the American people. 26-year-old was shackled at the waist and ankles. And is that because we have the wrong guy? Like, he could have said that, right, if it was not him. Who was arrested in Pennsylvania on Monday. At one point during Tuesday's court appearance, Mangione tried to interject. He wanted to chime in on this, but his attorney, called Thomas Dickey, was attempting to convince the judge to release him on bail, saying, "Your Honor," he was discussing the $8,000 in U.S. cash and $2,000 in foreign currency. Dickey instructed his client, he says, "Don't you say a word. Shut your mouth." The judge ordered Mangione held without bail. The Manhattan DA's office, that's Alvin Bragg, will seek a governor's warrant to try to force his extradition. When Mangione was arrested on Monday, he had written admissions about the crime with him, according to the arrest warrant, which we still have not seen. That's from New York, so hopefully that's published tomorrow. Mangione had several handwritten pages on him that expressed a disdain for corporate America. He's frustrated with the healthcare system in the United States, said a detective on Good Morning America. Mangione's writings, obtained by ABC News, which again they have not published because they're cowards, addressed to the feds, said, "I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming." That's exactly what we saw in Klippenstein's publish. He claimed that the U.S. had the most expensive healthcare in the system in the world, apparently inspired by the Unabomber. The report warned that, like Ted Kaczynski, Mangione may become a martyr who inspires a wide range of extremists to act. Mangione appeared to view the targeted killing as a symbolic takedown, according to the NYPD. Whether he had any personal connection to the CEO is unknown. Spokesman said in a statement from United, "Our hope is that today's apprehension will bring relief to the family." They were thrilled that they got this guy in custody. Kenny said, the key to this case was releasing photos of the suspect's face to the media and the public. Probably give that guy a medal. That picture reached Pennsylvania, where Mangione was recognized as somebody at McDonald's. We are grateful as a city to that person. They still have a lot of evidence. They're still going to be assessing DNA. He was apprehended with the same ID that he had checking into the hostel, looked like that, which was fake. Looks very similar to the gun used on the murder. Officers also found a 3D printed pistol with the 3D silencer, charged with 5 crimes: carrying a gun without a license, forgery, falsely identifying himself to authorities, possessing, quote, instruments of a crime, according to the criminal complaint. That's the Pennsylvania charge. Mangione's family said in a statement they're shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. "We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson. We ask people to pray for all involved." This is an image of the ghost gun that allegedly he manufactured, right? He printed that thing, which seems like a lot of work. You can't just go buy one. This is America. The Pennsylvania State Police is asking for the public's help piecing together the trips to Pennsylvania. Police are looking at his travel, obviously a developing story. Meanwhile, we had Mayor Eric Adams, who said that he talked to the officer who made the arrest. And here's what that sounded like.
"Hey, Tyler.
I guess we found your guy."
Yes, we as New Yorkers, we appreciate it. You just did a great job. Heads up policing. You took a dangerous person off the street. We thank you so much."
It was great to do.
More than happy to do it. I can't say I was expecting it waking up this morning, but no, it was a great experience.
For me, and I'm more than happy to take someone like that off the street.
How many years do you have on the job now?
Less than a year, actually.
Wow, bro. You're going to be the most popular police officer in your town. When I was a police officer, I would hope to have a day like this when I could take someone this dangerous off the street.
So I just wanted to call and just tell you thank you. New Yorkers appreciate your heads up policing. It doesn't matter which side your patch is on
Or what color your uniform is. We have one job, and let's make sure Americans and New Yorkers are safe.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate the call.
It's been quite the experience today. Like I said, I'm more than glad to take that guy off the street for you guys. And
It's just been awesome.
Thank you.
Happy holidays to
hey, you too.
It's Merry Christmas, punk. All right, so anyways, that's what is happening out there, and the hash brown is what took him out. So you can see he was seen eating a hash brown. And how do you identify that guy from that photo? You're like, that's the assassin? Are you kidding me? Some McDonald's person is like a facial recognition expert. They go, that's the guy, clearly? All right. He began shaking when the cops approached him. Here's a photo. People are noticing maybe a little bit of wetness around this area. Not sure if that's accurate or not, but it does look like it's slightly discolored. Don't know what that might be from. Luigi Mangione in a police cell after being charged with the murder of United Healthcare. There's another photo of him handcuffed. That's the McDonald's that he was at. Do not believe Trump was working there on that day. There's another scene. He managed to flee 280 miles, led officers across state lines, desperate manhunt. So our mission is to get our hands on those criminal filings out of Pennsylvania and out of New York. I've not seen them thus far, but we're going to dig them up. And when they are here, we'll go through them and see what specifically is inside. I'm curious about some photos. They've got photos, obviously. The media has copies of these items, but they're not publishing them. And I know they're going to say it's because, well, he hasn't been arraigned yet. Well, he's been processed in Pennsylvania. So these documents should be available. They should be publishing these things. Why they're not always agitates me. Why don't they give us evidence so that we can help them piece together what's actually going on here, unless they don't want us to help? I don't want this to turn into another Las Vegas situation where they just serve us the solution, the answers on a silver for Platter. Fortunately, this guy's not dead, unlike the guy in Las Vegas. So we'll keep our eye on it, my friends. Thanks for subscribing and joining as we do.